Breaking news, everyone. Steel Target Paint Podcast here with Jeff and Steve. And this is Sunday morning after the WSSC 2021 registration. And we wanted to get Zack Jones on and help alleviate some of the questions and concerns. And it was another tough night of registration. And we've got Zack on here to kind of help explain what was going on. So Zack, thanks for joining us.
Hey, happy to be here. And this was for 2022.
Oh, that's right. We're still in 2021. It's for next year.
So,
fair enough. Yes.
Even doing a podcast is tough these days.
Yeah, Jeff, it took me 10 therapy sessions to get over the 2021 registration.
Well, people say I'm living in the past. So with Zack, registration opened up at 8:00, and by about 8:15, maybe even sooner, people started getting waitlisted. So, and there was a lot of failure. So let's talk about the preparation that was done for this registration.
Yeah, it was a disaster. I mean, there's really no other way of stating it. But prior to the match, there were a number of things that were done to try and alleviate the burden on the servers and things like that. For example, you saw that a number of competitors were already listed on Wednesday or on certain squads on 5 to go on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those were either staff members or super squads that I got registered in advance, and then other people that were registered were from sponsored slots, or because we're going to have a membership meeting at the World Speed Shoot next year, some of those spots were taken by area directors that will be there participating in the meeting and shooting the match with us. On Thursday, I reached out to Practice Score and reminded them that, our biggest registration night was coming up, and to ask them to please spool up an additional server on their Amazon Web Services platform to be able to handle the load. And as we saw by the 502 errors, things did not go as planned.
Yeah, it was definitely a mad rush. There's no doubt this is a very important match to a lot of people, and it was tough. So we've got an explanation there, and is this why when we go to Practice Score right now, and you're on the match breakdown page or the registered list, that the reserve slots are slots that you set aside for, again, super squads and the RO day, which is Wednesday, correct?
Yes, the only other exception would be Thursday afternoon showdown. There's 10 spots currently reserved, and that's for sponsors that have not yet committed to the match. As we get closer to the match actually, taking place, if we don't fill those spots with sponsors, then they'll be released back to me, and I will be able to allocate those to a competitor that's waitlisted. Likewise, if for some reason we don't fill out any of the super squads, the policy states that those slots are turned back over to USPSA's use, and I'll be able to take those slots and add competitors there if need be to get more people into the match. I mean, that's our goal, obviously, is we've got a total of 704 slots, and we want to have 704 guns in the match.
Okay, and out of that 704 that are available in the whole match, how many were actually available beginning at 5:00 or 8:00 last night?
What I did was I took the number of reserve spots, so all of Wednesday, which you've got 64 slots in the morning and then 80 slots in the afternoon, so that's 144. And I went through and added up all of the reserve spots for the staff and for the sponsors and super squads and everything like that, and then deducted that from 704, and I ended up with 514 available slots left over for people to register. Now, you'll see that there's a number of squads that are not full and the slots are not reserved. I'm actively working with the practice score support team this morning to determine why some competitors were able to register but not pay, or it doesn't appear on Practice Score's website that they've paid. So I've reached out to a number of competitors to ask them to verify how many entries they were charged for. So it might be a case where I have to go through these one at a time and approve them manually for payment. And then once they pay, they can squad and everything. But it's going to take a good while to get through this process. So I ask for people to have patience while I do what I have to do to try to get everything squared away and don't, whatever, put the pitchforks away, I guess I should say.
So you're saying that
I was more
tree where I
concerned
saw
with-
the noose hanging, no, don't, just take it down. We don't need that.
Yeah,
No,
take it down.
I
There'll
was
be no
more concerned
lynchings
with-
today.
More concerned with the torches and the pitchforks, but Zach, so
Well,
what time? Go ahead.
no, I was going to say, well, this is true. Both of them are painful options. So,
Well, let me back up for just a minute because there
Sure.
may have been a little bit of discrepancy or disparity with. So, what time did registration officially open last night?
8 p.m. Eastern time last night.
It was weird because it may have been just because of the traffic, but I think I hit refresh at 7:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's all the clocks were lined up same as they were the last couple of years, and practice score had crashed at that point in time. But the other interesting part, though, is that how is it possible? And I'm not. This may be a question to the void, not necessarily to you, but how is it possible that some people were able to get 7 or 8 guns registered, and there's only last night? And I don't mind sharing this. Is that I am on at least one of the super squads, and I did take advantage of 2 sponsor slots. So I already had 3 guns in the match, but I was only able to register 2 guns last night. And there's some folks that had 7 or 8 guns. I think it's probably the most that we've heard of. How is, and there's world champions right now that only have maybe 1 gun in a match at the World Speed Shoot. So how is that possible that happened?
Luck of the draw.
It could be a combination of things. Well, luck of the draw for one thing. It could be that some of those competitors may have had guns that were put on the super squad. For example, Lance Bratcher Jr. I think he's on at least 2 or if not 3 super squads. Kenny is on several. I think he might actually be on all 4 of them. Grant is on 3. And it could be that they had, their brother, sister, mother, father, aunts, uncles, everybody and their brother helping them do registration all at the same time. I really don't know, because it was, sitting here trying to monitor registration and everything that goes on, and I was getting the 502 errors just like everybody else was. So I immediately reached out to Practice Score, and I did that, sent them a screen capture of what was happening. By the time they resolved it, which was resolved approximately 8:15, the damage was already done. I mean, you guys know that this match fills instantly, and a 16-minute downtime, if you will, or non-availability might not sound like much in the grand scheme of things, but when you got a match that fills up in under 15 minutes, it's huge. I've gotten.
If everything were to work properly, I would argue this match would be filled up in 2 minutes. And the only delay is just people squatting.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's where had there been no issues with connectivity and the 502 error, there would still be the issues of people not getting in and being waitlisted, because it just means everything would have worked faster. I mean, the match filled as fast as it did with the problems.
Which
Now,
is surprising to me, that it was still able to, despite the fact that people were getting the 502 error, that the match still, there were people who were able to get registered. In fact, Steve, I need to commission Creekside Customs to do a 502 coin, a coin with 502 on it, and then that knot symbol, so that we can pass that out to everybody for surviving.
Working on the design now.
All right, so just send me a bill for it. We'll give everybody a that shows up at the match a 502 coin next year.
Zach, I can't even imagine what you went through last night, what you're continuing to go through. So I appreciate your sense of humor at this point in time.
Well,
that's awesome.
It's one of those things where, and this being a G-rated podcast, I can't speak as freely as I would like to, but there's only so much of my hind end that's available for people to chew up, and it's all gone. Well, so we'll put it that way, okay? I will share that everybody from all 8 area directors, Jake Martins, Troy McManus, Michael Brooks, the president of USPSA, are all read in on exactly what happened, and know full well, the problems that it caused for us and everything like that. So this is not something that we're just like, oh, well, it happened, too bad. No, this is something that we as an organization take very seriously, and this will be dealt with at their level. It's not something that, I'll do the technical stuff and get people in the match as best I can, but the big picture, that's got to be handled by the big guns.
So let me ask you this, Zach, because to say my Facebook Messenger and cell phone were ringing and dinging off the off the counter last night is probably an understatement. So if people do have concerns outside of calling, because hey Jeff, I tried to call Zach last night. I knew he sent me to voicemail. I'm not sure why.
I did. I declined more calls last night than I have ever in my life, because and it's not because I didn't want to take your call.
No, understood.
I wanted to keep my phone open in case I did get a call from the practice score support guys. I didn't want to have to be getting my ear bent and then have to hang up on you to take a call from
sure
practice score. But
so where I was going with that,
I got a lot of voicemails that I haven't read, and a lot of text messages that again, this being a G-rated show, I won't repeat the things that people said about my heritage, but
we appreciate that. We appreciate that.
It's not funny, Zach.
No. It's one of the things where you can either laugh or cry, and I'm at this point, I just laugh. I'm sorry that it happened. Because I know the frustration that people felt, and I feel it myself. That's why I work the match. No, I'm kidding. But just work with me, and we will get everybody that we can in the match. And I tell you, if you come to me and say I can only shoot on this day with this person because they're my buddy, odds are you're not going to get in the match. But if you come to me and say I'll take anything I can get to get in the match, odds are I can try to get you a spot. I'll do all I can.
So I just did a quick Excel spreadsheet, sort, remove duplicates, and just to let everybody know right now, and yes, there's a lot of empty slots. There are 226 unique shooters in the match. So even if you were to say that those people were to, 2 guns a person, which isn't very odd for the World Speed Shooting Championships. It's already over the number of slots that were even made available, based on current reservations. So I just wanted to add that little perspective is, more than likely, well, all these 226 people got in the first 15 minutes. And, it's
And
just to add a
So
little
Zach,
perspective there.
So Zach, if people have concerns about this process outside of blowing you up because you're only, one person and with a set definer role in Steel Challenge or USPSA, who should they reach out to? Is it Jake or is it their area director? Is it the president of USPSA? See all the above? What's your recommendation?
keep your complaints to yourself. No, I'm just kidding.
More of that humor. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. No. The area directors are becoming more and more involved with Steel Challenge, and that's a great thing. In fact, I'll share this with you guys. In January, as you know, there's going to be the in-person board of directors meeting in Tampa, Florida. I have been invited to attend that meeting and present to the board. So I will be there, and this is something that we can discuss at the board. So I would say, bring it up to your area director and let him know your thoughts on, how we can approve it going forward. Obviously, we can't go back in time and fix what happened last night. But, a year from now, maybe we can have a better experience for everybody.
Well, it's funny,
enough.
you get onto Facebook and there's a lot of people with a lot of ideas, and, on the surface, they sound wonderful. Like they'll fix it. I've, seen, let's do 16 stages a session. Well, that's got RO issues. And, let's make it longer. I saw one, which is, let's make rim fire in the beginning of the week and all this kind of stuff. And there a lot of them are interesting suggestions, but then when you start breaking down the viability of actually doing something like that, and especially with, I haven't looked at the numbers with regards to the entries on the different divisions, but my guess is this is going to be very similar to the past world speed shoots, where better than 50% of the match is going to be made up of rimfire pistol, rimfire rifle, and PCC optics. And
well, let me bring up the dashboard while I go there. There's a total of 811 guns registered for this match as of right now.
Holy crap.
so that's even over the 704.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
So, so that's a lot. Okay. So,
That's crazy.
PCC, PCC combined, we've got, looks like 104, if my math is right. Rimfire pistol, we've got 133, and rimfire rifle, we've got 171. So,
Wow.
Yeah, so
where
that's
it's at.
300.
Is there any way to-
over 350? So there's over half the match right there, and that's without even taking into account all of the people that have yet, that might be in this limbo state.
Well, I don't know if the dashboard counts everybody regardless of waitlisted status or not. So, we got a lot of guns there, that's for sure.
I just pulled the
So-
numbers in, though. That dashboard that I'm seeing that's 563 guns. So
Those
it may
three
not.
divisions?
It might not be squatted yet.
So Jeff, you're saying that those three divisions are 563 of the 811?
No. Those three
No,
divisions.
Total.
Yeah, the total is
Oh,
five,
okay.
633. But those three
Okay.
divisions out of the ones that I'm showing represent 320 guns.
You're looking at the match breakdown.
I'm looking at the match breakdown. Yeah, I don't have the
Yeah.
detail that you were able to look at behind the scenes, but
So that's 50, almost 57% of the match is those
Yeah.
three divisions. It'd be interesting if you aggregate all the centerfire pistol divisions. My gut feel was that's only about 20% of the match, but it may be a little bit higher.
Carry optics, Iron Starfire, limited, open,
OSR.
OSR, and single
Production,
stack.
single
Oh, production. That's right. So these here, production and single stack is 155.
Okay, 27 and a half.
I mean, there's 52 right now. Again, the match breakdown I can see there's 52 in carry optics. There's 49 in open. So those two divisions are clearly pretty good. In fact,
we're
both of
actually
those.
looking at the same breakdown then.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
The
So you get to see the cool things I get to see. or I don't have as cool tools as I thought I did.
That's
it's
funny.
clearly, I mean, and again, this is just a fact. These are harder guns, but Iron Sight Revolver has 6, PCC optics, or excuse me, production has 7, and single stack has 8. Those are valid divisions, and it's just, again, we've seen this in past years. People are migrating towards the rifles and the PCCs, although I am very pleased to see that carry optics and open are picking up, because again, I think it's their dots. I mean, limited, one of the other Iron Sight centerfire pistols is only 17. But then you also look at PCCI, there's only 16. RFPI, there's only 32. And RFRI, there's only 40. So it's definitely, and a lot of these, I've looked at the numbers. I've got all the data from all the old world speed shoots, and when you look at those divisions in specific, they're the ones that people want to shoot. The people who shoot it at the World Speed Shooting Championships tend to be some of the best, and that they don't get shot as much in level 2s or local matches.
So Zach, has there been, we talked a little bit about this in the last year or two. Is there been any discussion about getting a committee or a couple of smart people in a room to really hash out the sign up process, or maybe make it, there's 25 different options out on the table. Well, let's do centerfire on Saturday and Sunday because that's what we did 20 years ago. Yeah, okay, who cares? It's 27% of the match. The big driver is really the rimfire rifle open and some of the other ones. So maybe that should be the Saturday, Sunday. But there's a lot of different opinions and options out there. Is there anybody that's from USPSA, including yourself, that's really looking at this, especially in light of, this is the 3rd year in a row that I can remember that, and don't get me wrong, this year seemed to be worse, and that could be because of the popularity of the sport. Is there anybody that's really looking at this on a go forward basis of how to do it differently?
No, to put it bluntly, we haven't looked at it, because we've had hiccups, but this year was really kind of an eye-opening experience for us, at least for me. I mean, I know that we've had issues last year and the year before, but we got through them. But this was really bad. I mean, as soon as registration opens and people can't register, that's bad.
Yeah.
So I do think that this might be something that we start a discussion in January when I'm down in Tampa. Because we'll have basically a year to come up with something, or to at least have a better understanding. I mean, there's lots of options out there. We could work with the practice score people to, do X or Y or Z, or we could take registration in-house, or we could find some other registration platform. I don't know, I've seen some of the posts on Facebook, and I just put my phone down and walk away because I don't want to get involved in it, because I just don't, So, I mean, there's no idea that's a bad idea, but there's some ideas that are better than others, So, let us hear, how you think you can fix it. But there's some things that just aren't practical, like, expanding the number of bays. Well, we can't do that like at CMP, because we'll be there in 2022. And I think that there's an option for 2023 there based upon the original contract that Mike Foley set up. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, we're there 2 more years. Well, okay, adding more stages, we can't. So we're stuck with running the 8 where we run them. So what else could we do? Well, we can't really expand on the number of squads because of the, Range Protection Act in Alabama, where we can't shoot prior to 9.
Right.
So, I mean, we do all that we can to get people into the match and all that. It's just, the registration process is something that we're going to have to come up with something better.
Yeah, and I think what you're seeing, Zach, and certainly last night, I guess my frustration is that, outside of, just me, and, I shared this a couple moments ago, that I could only, squad 2 guns, even if I wanted to last night. But it's just, I feel bad for, I won't mention names, but there's a lot of people that reached out to me that, didn't even get a gun, and they really wanted to shoot because of, could be internet connectivity, could have been, it seems like there was pockets across we haven't done a heat map yet of the United States, but
Right.
it seems like there's
Yeah.
different areas of the country or different locations where you got one of the top shooters in the world that only has 1 gun squad. It's like, how the heck does that happen? And, there's a lot
Yeah.
of discussion about, well, it should be, the world speed shoot. It's like going to the Masters in golf and so on and so forth. But I think that's the best part about our sport. It's very inclusive. And I think that, a CD shooter that does take this serious and wants to spend they've saved up all their money all year and they're going on one vacation, that's to Talladega, Alabama, because they want to experience the world speed shoot. And I think they should have the opportunity to do that. And I think that's where a lot of the frustration is certainly come from. And I think it's built up over the last couple of years, but maybe when we get a new president, I know I'm going to email my area director as well as the current, maybe all area directors, what the heck. And so it's one email, so everybody's getting the same message, as well as the current president. I think Mike was a little bit more in touch with Steel Challenge, and I think he would have some action after all this has gone on. So hopefully it just doesn't fall on deaf ears, and we're sitting here 12 months from now having the same conversation, because I think that'll be disappointing. Because the other part, outside of folks that really want to go to this type of match, is there's a lot of people out there that say, hey, they don't want to go to this match anymore because of this shenanigans. But I just don't want people to get discouraged shooting Steel Challenge because of some of the technical and maybe procedural things. And based on what you said a minute ago, if there was 811 guns, maybe it is time to break it up into 2 matches. And I know that there's a lot of logistics around doing that sort of thing. But yeah, Zach, number one, we appreciate you. I know that you don't control all this, but number 2, we certainly appreciate your time and your candor, asking some tough questions, because we did ask a couple tough questions before we got on the podcast, just to kind of get what the proverbial deal is. So we really appreciate what you have done and what you're going to do, because I'm sure it's going to take weeks to get all this sorted out, I would imagine, wouldn't you say?
Oh, it will. I mean, literally, I was talking to Donna last night about it. I said, from today until the first make ready command is issued in April next year, I will do something for this match every single day, you know? So it might be trying to find a spot for somebody, or you know, somebody withdraws, so I got to get with headquarters to get their refund issued. So I mean, you know, this is basically my second full-time job. I do my work that I do for the government during the day, and then I do this from the time I get off that job till I go to bed.
Sure.
So, you know, just have patience. I know that you want to get your guns in, and I know that you want to do this and that and the other, and I want that for you too. But, you know, I can't fix what was broken last night, and we're certainly not going to roll back registration to before what it was when we opened it and let everybody have a do-over, you know. So we've got a mess. We just have to work through.
Zach, I'm all warmed up.
Mix.
I'm warmed up.
What's that?
I went through it last night. I'm warmed up. I'm ready to go. My fingers are nice and warm, and I'm ready to type.
Man, I would get lynched really if we did do that. I was serious. I think I'd do it myself, to be honest with you, because I could not handle that sort of thing again. So yeah, so we've got to, you know, something's broken, no doubt about it, and we've got to get it fixed before this time next year.
So Zach, just so I'm clear before we wrap things up, and thank you again for your time on this Sunday morning.
Sure. Yeah.
So what's the process from here? You're going to go through and those people that are on the wait list and start kind of in order of when they became on the wait list, I would imagine some chronological order, and reach out to them one by one to see where, if they still want to be in the match, and then, you know, where they want to be squatted. Is that the process, or what does that look like? Just so people listening to this podcast have a way forward if they're in that limbo situation.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I actually drafted an email this morning, but I didn't send it because I just didn't like the way it sounded. Because again, when I send out something on behalf of the organization, I need to say the right thing and not certain words. So the way it's going to work is the first thing I got to do is those individuals that are registered, and it shows that they're registered and not waitlisted, but they're not paid. I've got to work through that list of people first and get them paid if they need to pay, and get them squatted. When everybody signs up, they're assigned a registration number, if you will, that says, okay, this was the first person that registered. This was the 800, whatever it is, 35th person that's registered. So I'll work in, you know, numerical order. So I'll go through and get everybody that was, you know, approved but not squatted yet, squatted, and then I'll start on the wait list. And what I did last year with the wait list is I'll reach out to you and say, okay, look at the things where we have the vacancies, and you know, if you can shoot on one of those days, I can get you in the match. If you can't shoot on one of those days due to your travel commitments or whatever, then we have a choice. You can either remain on the wait list, and I'll come back around to you if something happens to come up, or you can go ahead and withdraw from the match, and then I'll take them off the wait list permanently. So, you know, I would encourage you to remain on it as long as possible so that I can have an opportunity to get you in the match somewhere. But I fully get that people have limited time off from work. They have, you know, other commitments and stuff like that, and they can only shoot on specific days or whatever. But, you know, if I can't get you in the match, I can't do it. And I apologize for that.
Excellent. Well, I think, you know, this does shed a little light into, you know, what happened and some of the things that were tried and where we're going to move going forward with at least getting people into the match. You know, I did do a little looking, again, being the numbers nerd. You know, as I said, there's 227 unique people 226 that have signed up for the match. 75 of them, which is 1/3, have a single gun registered. Now, again, they may have another gun registered, but or at least waitlisted, excuse me. And then it goes 81 have 2, 37 have 3, 23 have 4. And then, there's actually 5 people who've got 5 guns, 2 people with 6, 2 people with 7, 2 people with 8. And you are correct. One of those people who've got 8 is Kenny Nagata. And, as you pointed out, he had 4 of them that were pre-registered, being on super squads.
Right. Yeah. He's on all 4 super squads.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, something that the listeners can do, if you, due to the problems that we were having last night, and you register and you have multiple guns on the wait list, but you know that you really only want to add one more gun, if you'll go in and withdraw the extra entries that are waitlisted, that will help me, instead of me having to contact you and say, oh, well, I don't need 3 more slots. I really only want 1 or whatever. That would help me get through the process faster.
And, that's a really good point too, Zach, with regards to contacting. I mean, the communication you have is through email. Do you have a moratorium on how long you're waiting for somebody to get back to you before you finally decide, I have to withdraw this person from the match?
I don't yet.
Okay.
But there's going to come a point in time, obviously, when registration closes and all that, and we have to do the final download, that that there could be some people who just don't make it in. But the faster that people can respond to me, the faster I can move on. Another thing I want to point out too, let's take, for example, I don't know, we'll say Joe Smith, average shooter, whoever, it doesn't matter. If you have, say you have 3 guns on the waiting list, and you're in slot number, 100 on the waiting list, 125, and 150, or whatever the numbers may be, when I contact you, I'll be making contact with you 3 times, because the first time will be to take care of your gun number 100. Then I've got 24 other people, or 23, whatever the difference is, that I have to contact before I come back to you for your second gun. So, I because I can't, just because you're number 1, in the queue, and you're also number 10 or whatever the number is, I can't skip those 9 people. So basically that's what I was trying to say is, I've got to work everybody in the order that you registered. And so the quicker you can get back to me, the quicker I can get back around to you if I need to.
So I think the takeaway that I'm getting is, it was an unfortunate situation. You're working through the process. Make sure if there's anything you don't want to have, withdraw it, and keep an eye on your email for an email from you, so you can get those guns in that you want to get in. Is that a pretty good recap?
That's pretty much it. Just, quit cussing at me, because I'm getting kind of tired of it.
One more slight point of clarification, Zach.
Sure.
How will you be contacting them? Is the primary mode or method of communication going to be email, or what does that look like?
Yes.
Okay.
Email, because when we do the registration, when people sign up, that's all we collect. We don't collect a phone number or anything like that, and I don't have access to phone numbers. So the good thing is, with email, I could be, standing in line at the grocery store waiting to check out or whatever, and if I get an email, I can respond to it there. So I'll, my email is Zack, Z-A-C-K, at uspsa.org. So be looking for that, and check your spam folder, because who knows, it might go to spam.
Copy that.
Excellent. Well, Zach, thank you for this emergency podcast record, and hopefully this has shed some light onto what's going on and what's going to need to happen going forward. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And, keep the faith, people. We'll get there. We're still going to
Alright,
have a great match no matter what.
Hey, Zach, PM me your address because I'm going to send you a big bottle of Jack Daniels because you may need it.
Then we're liable to have 800 guns in a 700 gun match.
It'll be fine.
See, Steve's a lot nicer. I was going to say, now get off this call and go read your emails.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had to sign out so we wouldn't have a bunch of ding, 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 ding going on. Sounds like a boxing match, when they ring the bell. That's what my email sounded like last night.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks
again,
Appreciate
Zach.
it.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, happy to help out, guys. Thank you.
All right. Bye.